Most marketing advice for coaches doesn't work. Why? Because most traditional marketing focuses on the conversion, the sale. And as a coach, these conversions are not what you're chasing. You're not selling vacuum cleaners or water bottles, so conversions are not your focus. Conversions lead you to think about the client in the wrong way. If your focus is on sales, on signing people up to coaching sessions or online courses, you're at risk of selling the client something they don't need, aren't ready for, or won't appreciate. You're not just chasing a sale, you're looking for the right sale to the right client, and that requires a conversation, an exchange with someone who resonates with what you do and sees the value in the outcome, feeling, or insight that you'll guide them to. So how can you shift your marketing mindset? How can you shift from the conversion drive to focus on creating opportunities for conversations instead? Well, that's what this guide is all about. The key here is, rather than sell, coach. In traditional marketing, the information flow is one way, from the person trying to persuade towards the person being persuaded. Instead of persuasion, it's more effective to focus on engagement, on asking, on listening. In other words, to speak to a client in a way that doesn't feel like selling, you need to ask questions, inspire ideas, or invite a change of mindset. Get them thinking about the kinds of things that you work with your clients on and guide them to a place where they feel that working with a coach is the next perfect step for them. When you start a conversation, you shine a light on the shadowy corner of their understanding. The key is to make them think with information, question, and a fresh perspective, to turn on that light bulb and leave them wanting to know more. If this sounds familiar, you're right. You're going to be using your coaching skills to market your coaching. Many coaches find attracting new clients hard work. They're often comfortable talking about their coaching businesses and explaining everything in detail, but they struggle with the sales part. Why does it often feel like hard work? Well, put simply, it's because you're talking about the wrong thing. You're trying to take a potential client all the way from barely aware they have a problem to solve to buying your coaching product, all in a single step, and it's just too much. With your existing knowledge and years of experience, the process and product of coaching may feel and seem obvious to you. However, a client is often starting from a place of blissful ignorance. They may not be aware that they even have a problem, or that there's an opportunity for change, or in fact that working with a coach is even an option. When there's this mismatch in understanding or awareness, jumping too quickly to sell your coaching product just doesn't feel right. By looking at the client journey in terms of the 5 levels of awareness, we can split up the marketing messaging and content to talk to and appeal to the different stages of this journey. That way, you're addressing the client's specific level of awareness and not overwhelming them with trying to make that sale too early. The theory behind this journey that people go on when they're considering making a purchase is actually very old. It was first published in 1966 by Eugene Schwartz, a copywriter who reportedly sold over $1 billion worth of products with his work. He wrote a book called Breakthrough Advertising, and that informs most of the advertising that you see in your daily lives and is likely the reason that you've purchased most of the stuff that you now own. Though you're not trying to sell cars, vacuum cleaners, or fizzy drinks, these levels of awareness still apply. You can use them to understand where your prospective client is in that awareness journey and then talk to them in a way that appeals to their situation, doesn't overwhelm them, and guides them rather than sells to them. So let's have a look at these 5 levels. Unaware. The person doesn't know that they have a problem or can't yet see the opportunity for change, and it can take a lot of time, energy, and effort to move them to the next level. Problem aware. A person knows that they have a problem or can see the opportunity for change, but doesn't know that there are solutions to the outcome that they have identified. Solution aware. A person discovers that there are solutions but hasn't chosen one and is still deciding whether they're ready to do the work. Product aware. A person is ready to do the work and is looking for a product that matches what they perceive the solution to be. They're trying to work out if your product can help them solve their problem or support them in the change they want to make. Most aware. A person has decided they're ready to work with you and they're on the cusp of buying. They just need to feel supported in taking that first step. Most people think, and most marketing advice will tell you, to focus on those in the unaware level. That is what the big brands do. For a considered purchase like coaching, and without the advertising budget of millions, this is often highly ineffective, and that's why most marketing feels like it doesn't work. What's more, if you try and take people through these 5 levels too fast, they get overwhelmed and feel like they're being sold to, and nobody likes that. An example of this could be, are you feeling stressed? If so, buy my 6-week Better Sleep program. It's just too fast. If I'm feeling stressed, then why do I want a Better Sleep program? Will this help? If so, how? And why do I even want to work with a coach? If you try and close that sale too early, you just end up confusing the client. It's far better to build the curiosity, create a little bit of tension for them to want to know more. People love to explore and learn about new things, so the best approach would be to take a client on a journey that they can explore at their own pace. This is what the 5 levels of awareness enables you to do. Let's look at each of those levels in more detail. Unaware. When someone is unaware they have a problem, or even that a problem exists at all, they're not, unsurprisingly, looking for a solution. They're just going about their day-to-day, perhaps not even knowing that their lived experience is not like anybody else's. They might assume that how they feel or their situation is just like everybody else. At this stage, you don't want to try and sell anything to them. Instead, you need to raise their level of awareness to the point that they realise that their situation, feeling or actions are something that they might like to consider differently. In order to progress their awareness level, you need to get them to switch their thinking or perspective. Now, this isn't easy, and it can take a lot of time and effort and money to do well. This is why marketing can feel like hard work. Big brands tend to focus on convincing people that they have a problem. They often rely on creating this problem and then play on people's fears to encourage them to purchase the solution. This feels unethical, and it doesn't sit well with selling coaching services. Most marketing advice focuses on this create a problem and then solve it tactic. And that explains why most of it just doesn't feel right for coaches. With coaches, you're often working with sensitive and personal issues, so it really wouldn't be ethical to try and do this. We can learn a lot from how this is done, but it doesn't mean we should be doing it. Problem aware. The word problem here isn't meant as a judgment nor in a derogatory sense. Here it describes someone with a frustration, an issue, a feeling or a tangible problem that they want to do something about. As much as a problem can be something to be resolved, it can also be an opportunity for change, evolution or reflection. To fit it onto this graph though, we had to choose one word, and the word we chose was problem. A problem-aware person isn't ready to hear about your products. They've only just realised that they've got a problem, frustration, or that they've just seen an opportunity for change. They don't yet know that there are ways to solve these problems or make that change. At this stage, what you can do is support them to join the dots, to link the ideas or open them up to a new perspective or viewpoint from their current situation. You're certainly not going to want to try and make a sale at this point. You can use empathy to make them feel seen, heard and understood, and use their own words in their own language to help them join the dots and come to their own realizations. Reflecting the problem back at them shows them that you understand them and demonstrates that you're the best placed guide to guide them on the rest of this journey. Solution aware. A solution aware person is looking for the answers to their problems. They're starting to become curious and beginning to look for answers for their questions. This is where you can show them what they can do to solve their problem, but you're not necessarily focusing on your products just yet. You want to educate them about what a good solution looks like and feels like, and what they might like to consider when they're choosing a coach. At this stage, the client has questions and is seeking answers. They don't want to hear about specific products yet because they're not even sure that they even want the solution. When thinking about coaching, someone is deciding if they even want to solve that problem, whether they're ready to do the work. Once you have their attention from the previous level where you helped them understand the problem in more detail, you have the opportunity to highlight what a solution might look like. You can also answer some of the common questions that they have about what kind of solution might be the best fit for them. Here, it can be just as useful to signpost someone off to another solution as it is to guide them towards yours. As tempting as it is to tell them all about your product at this stage, it's better to help them understand the solution first and come to their own decision once they're ready to engage with a coach and do the work. Only when they're ready to do the work will they want to consider working with a coach. Product aware. Once the person knows what a good solution looks and feels like, they know what they want, and they've decided to commit to doing the work to solve the problem, they will now go searching for a product that meets their newly acquired criteria. If you've taken them on the journey so far with the content in the previous 3 levels, then they will have seen that you're able to explain the problem and the solution to them clearly. So now they're just trying to decide whether they trust you. At this stage, they want to know about your product, but they might be comparing you with what other coaches are saying and offering. Your job now is to show them why you're the best fit. It's likely you've already won a lot of trust simply by starting to engage them with empathy. Not many people do this, and not many people make clients feel seen, heard and understood, so you're probably ahead of most of the competition already. Now you need to add some authority into the mix. This is where you show them why you're best placed to guide them to that outcome, feeling or insight that they want. You need to show them how your product fits their understanding of what a good solution looks and feels like. This then empowers them to make an informed decision about if they feel like you are a good fit. It's about building trust, not selling. Only once they trust you will they be ready to move to the next level. Most aware. Now the person believes that you're a great fit. They feel ready to engage in the coaching process, and most importantly, like they've reached this point at their own informed decision. All they need to do now is hear your offer, and the biggest mistake people make at this stage is saying too much. At this stage, you just need to get out of the way. You need to make it easy for them to take that first step and make it clear what happens afterwards. This might be booking a discovery call with you or completing a form to give you some simple information. It might be purchasing a course or a session. Whatever the first step needs to be, make it clear and explain it in very simple terms. You need to let them know what happens after they complete this step. So for example, if they book a call with you, what happens next? If they buy a session, then what happens? This reassures the client that they can trust you and that the next step won't be a surprise. When you're putting this into practice, you need to work backwards. Most coaches start with the hardest bit of marketing. They're trying to convince people at the unaware stage that they need coaching. If it seems like you're always talking to people who don't understand coaching, let alone that if they would benefit from it, then you too are engaged in that hardest bit. It's exhausting, isn't it? It can feel like a lot of work and effort with limited engagement in return, because these people are unaware of the situation or that coaching might help. It is often assumed that these people are your only potential clients, but luckily there are more people out there with whom your marketing will resonate much more easily. Most marketing advice focuses on selling products and services that need little consideration to purchase. Convincing a yoga enthusiast that they need a new yoga mat is not an especially complicated journey, for example. But deciding to work with a coach and then choosing one is a much more emotionally complex process. Starting with the unaware level of awareness sounds logical, but when you're marketing coaching, setting up the journey's end first and working backwards actually makes more sense. Let me explain. Just trying to convince people that they need coaching is unlikely to work, nor can you ethically play on people's fears as much of marketing does. To make your marketing more effective and to feel less like hard work, you need to build the whole journey backwards. Your marketing needs to address all 5 levels, helping people at each one so they can find their way to the next. You're mapping out a route, and your marketing is about being a good guide, signposting a journey that they can take at their own pace. The easiest and most logical place to start is at the destination. You start with the most aware and work out what they need. You can then go back a stage and focus on what the product-aware people need to become most aware, and so on. So how do we create this journey? Here's what we recommend doing at each stage. Make the first step as simple as you can. If you want them to book a call with you or fill in a form, then keep it simple and clearly signpost it on your website. Use an automated service like Calendly to make booking services super simple for both you and them. For the product aware, aim to clearly show how your product fits their expectation of a solution. Describe your services from their perspective, focusing on what they want and what they end up with. Show them what the process of working with you looks and feels like. Then signpost them to where they can take the first step in becoming a client. Bring the solution to the attention of a problem aware who have decided that they're ready to do the work. Tell them about your method and what they can expect to achieve by working through the process. By doing so, you're framing your solution as a perfect fit and putting it on the table for consideration. Then invite them to consider your product as a possible solution. The problem aware are looking to find out more about their perceived problem, experience, or situation. Don't offer them solutions at this stage. Empathise with them and share experiences and stories that give them a deeper understanding before you begin signposting them to possible solutions. Once you have the rest of this journey mapped out, you can decide on the best way to bring the problem to the attention of the unaware. This is where you can help them connect their situation to the potential issues or problems that are creating it. An example of this is a post that says, if you're having trouble sleeping, it could be because you're stressed. If you'd like to know more, read my blog about how stress can affect sleep. In creating this journey backwards, you create a clear path for the client to follow. As you may now be able to imagine, if you start at the other end, it'd be very confusing because you've got nowhere to signpost people. Their journey will be over before it even began because they want to learn and discover, and you would just be trying to sell. Now, some of you might be thinking, I just want to jump in and solve the problem. I know how to solve the problem. When the solution is so clear to you, it's tempting to jump straight in with a solution. However, a premature solution can be overwhelming for the potential client. Too much too soon, and they stop the journey. They go on a detour, they get lost, or they look for another coach. Coaching is a significant and hopefully life-changing investment. This is not an impulse buy, it's a journey of consciousness. You can make the journey feel more natural for them and more manageable for you by breaking it down into these 5 levels. We then create a variety of marketing content to guide them as they travel at their own pace. Not everybody will complete this journey and become a client, but for those that do, the learning that took place along the way will support the coaching process when it starts. And the bonus benefit, you have an organic marketing process with content for all, regardless of their level of awareness. When you're not trying to convert a person into a client with every post or podcast, your marketing will feel a lot less like selling to them and you. This journey of awareness, of raising the prospect's consciousness of their situation, will nurture the clients who are the best fit for you, taking them on a journey of awareness from unaware to most aware. This journey forms a key part of the coach's marketing journey, explaining the 6 chapters of your own journey to becoming more confident about how you talk about yourself and your coaching practice. With the Coach's Marketing Journey course, you can work through these 6 chapters in a structured way to empower you to regain control of your time, finances, and energy. If you've watched the video this far, then you're most likely on the same wavelength of us, and we'd love to share with you how to plan your marketing in a manageable way to attract more of your ideal clients. We've created the Coach's Marketing Plan. It will show you step by step how to create this journey for your ideal client to follow. As with all of our content, this plan is written especially for coaches, so it's in tune with the reality of marketing to clients who are looking for or find themselves at a point of change in their lives. Download our free Coach's Marketing Plan that will empower you to work on all the essential areas of your marketing and make a plan that you'll actually use.